Hello everyone and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. My name is Camden. We're here to do another live. I'm joined by Jordan again. It's been a while, Jordan, since we last sat down. It's been absolutely manic the last few weeks. Just games left, right and centre. Most of the time we've been getting battered. How are you, mate? How's things?
I'm a bit better this week than I was last week because we won a game.
It feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But I think it was that first win in 5 or something. So felt good to see that, and the team playing a bit better again. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm Sam, mate. I'm the same. It wasn't great after that Wolves game, but it was arguably worse after the Villa game, just because again, it's a side that we should have been beating. We should have been going there and stamping our foot a little bit and showing our authority, and we just didn't look like we were interested. But I'm the same as you. I was surprised by the performance on Monday against Sheffield United, but surprised in a good way, and happy that we managed to get the 3 points, and happy that we go into the final fixture against Bournemouth with a little bit of confidence and a little bit of positivity, because if we'd have been beaten there by Sheffield United in a similar vein to the game against Wolves, then I wouldn't have been looking forward to Sunday's game. We'll talk a bit about Sunday's game, but the main topic of this live stream is, of course, the whole Pierre-Emile Højbjerg situation, transfer saga that lasted about 24 hours, but was probably the maddest 24 hours that Everton fans had seen regarding transfers since, Sissoko was coming, or Riquelme, or Yarmolenko, or anybody else. Just a bit of brief background on it. Then it started actually a few months back, when we were first initially linked with him. I think it became quite apparent towards, when the football returned and just after the lockdown, that he wanted to leave Southampton. It also became quite apparent at that point that we were desperate for a central midfielder due to how poor our central midfielders had been. So that naturally the links were starting to be created by journalists again, who at the time it seemed like they were just thinking, he's leaving Southampton, Everton need a midfielder, Premier League experience, we'll bash them two together. And there wasn't anything massively solid in it other than Everton were interested in him, and he was definitely leaving Southampton. And then Tuesday night it all sort of kicked off. It started, got a brief chronology of it. It started with Jay Bear from the Telegraph, who's actually a pretty reliable source, stating that Everton had bid. Sorry, this wasn't Thursday, this was Tuesday. This was after the Villa game, last Thursday, a week today. He stated that Everton had bid £18 million for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And then shortly after that, because obviously everybody seen that and was like, what, that's out the blue. I think it actually got revealed, or it got rumoured as the game was still on. I think there was still 5 or 10 minutes left of the game when Jay Bear put out the article. About 20 minutes after he'd said it, the Liverpool Echo come out and said that Everton are in talks with Højbjerg, and then Paul Joyce also said that there was a £14 million bid. So initially there was, it became quite apparent that there was a bid there from Everton Football Club, whether it was 14 million, whether it was 18 million. It's difficult, especially in this day and age with bids and stuff, because you see different journalists claiming that teams have bid for players, but there's always different numbers and different amounts, and this could have been a £40 million bid plus add-ons, and whoever's, Paul Joyce is taking away the add-ons, whereas, Jay Burt might be saying 18 million including certain add-ons, so it may all work out. But like I said, that was after the Aston Villa game. We heard that, and then we didn't hear much else after that point until Tuesday. And on Tuesday, it all went off. TalkSport were first to it. It was actually Alex Crook, who had worked for TalkSport before. I think he's an independent journalist. He stated that Southampton had rejected the second offer from Everton for around 25 million and stated that they wanted 35 million. Now, obviously, this was out the blue to us. We left it last Thursday on a basis that we'd bid for the player. I would not heard anything else from that point. And then to hear on Tuesday that we'd had a second bid rejected, which was, towards of £10 million more than the original bid was rumoured to be, was quite the shock. Then Dan Sheldon, who's another journalist, then come out and said that the player had already visited Finch Farm and the £25 million bid was actually accepted. Alex Crook said that Saints are only willing to sell to Spurs because the player become, after Tuesday, when the rumour was come out that we'd had a bid rejected from Southampton, the little news articles and stories started to pop up about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg desperately wanting to join Tottenham Hotspur and not really wanting to come to Everton, and his preference being Tottenham. So those stories were popping up left, right and centre, and then, obviously with those links, Alex Crook come out and said that, Southampton were only willing to sell to Tottenham if they matched Everton's bid. And then we sort of left it on Tuesday night with Matt Law from The Independent saying that Tottenham have held talks with the player and he's expected to move there. So it started with Everton have had a bid accepted, Everton have had the second bid rejected to then accepted, and the player had already agreed personal terms and met the manager and had a pie in the training ground, to the player wants to go to Tottenham and he's probably going to go to Tottenham. Now, I don't really have a massive issue with us missing out on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg for a couple of reasons. One of them being, I think the players always had this stance of, if I can move to Tottenham, I want to move to Tottenham, which, you know, he hasn't come out and sold us a false dream and said, oh yeah, I definitely want to come to Everton, I really want to come to Everton, and then said, oh no, actually I want to go to Tottenham. He's been pretty consistent whenever he's spoken about it, or whenever he's been asked about it, that he wants to move to Tottenham. And secondly, he's not the only midfielder on the planet that can improve Everton Football Club. He's not the only midfielder that we can bring in, that, you know, that we desperately need to bring in. There's plenty of others. And to add on top of that, this deal seems to have been concluded, if he does go to Tottenham, before the transfer window's even opened, rather than usual, you know, typical Everton, which we've seen in previous years, where we don't do these things until the last 2 weeks, and then we're left with no options going into the last week, and we have to panic buy somebody. So obviously, I'm sure you've kept up to date with it all, Jordan, seen it all on Twitter, all the madness and everything going on. What were your initial thoughts then when you seen that, you know, we had the potential bid accepted and that the player had visited Finch Farm? But just initially, were you wanting Pierre-Emile Højbjerg at Everton? Did you think that he could come in and improve the squad?
Well, he can run and he can pass forward, so yeah. But,
it's not hard,
no, but no. When I seen all the rumours and that, I was like, these were solid ones, weren't they? I know we've been linked with players like Allen and all that, but this one seemed more solid than every other rumour I've heard for this upcoming window, if you like. But yeah, it was just a weird one, wasn't it? I was sort of thinking, oh, we could land this player here, but then there was talk of him like not wanting to join Everton. So I'm sort of like you. I'm not. If he doesn't want to come here, mate,
don't bring him.
You know, yeah, there's plenty of midfielders we can go for. But on the other hand, I do think he'd massively improve us. To be honest, don't know if anything over 25 million is worth the price, but you know, he sort of breaks the play up a little bit, doesn't he? He's got energy. Yeah. I think he'd be a good signing for us, but I don't want any more players whose like heart isn't in it, if you get me, because we've got too many of them.
Yeah.
So, but it might just be rumours that he does want to go to preferring Tottenham. I mean, he might do, but it mightn't be as concrete as others are saying, if you get me. So he might just be having a little think about it. Doesn't mean he's come out and said, oh yeah, I definitely want to go to Tottenham, because it might just be rumours, mightn't
it? Spot on. And you know, even like I said, when the rumours started to come out is that he preferred to move to Tottenham and he really wants to go to Tottenham. I think The Echo published, I think it was Phil Kilbride, on Tuesday night, published an article stating that the player's preference is Spurs, but Everton are still pursuing it and Everton are still wanting to bring the player in. I think prior to the rumours and the discussion that he may want to go to Spurs and that he doesn't want to come to Everton, I think a lot of Evertonians were thinking, right, okay, certainly when it was initially put out there that it'd be around about 14 to 18 million pounds, I think a lot of Blues were saying, well, he massively improves our midfield. He's, you know, 23, 24 years old. He's got a lot of leadership qualities. He's captain Southampton. He's got Premier League experience. He's still young. He's got a lot of time to improve, and he is already better than the players that we've got. Bring him in. But it felt to me as soon as that one, and you're right, it could just be a rumour, it could just be somebody trying to stir this pot. A lot of people sort of suggested that it's Southampton trying to just start a bidding war for the player, and I think that's probably the most realistic situation, to be honest. I think Southampton are trying to say, well, Everton have bid 25 million, but the player wants to go to Tottenham, and then if Tottenham come in, it'll be, well, he actually wants to go to Chelsea. Now, they just want to start a bidding war because they know... Especially
with a year left on his contract.
Exactly. I was just about to say, they know he wants to leave, and they know his contract's up next season, so if he doesn't get the move this season, he's walking for free. So if they can get £40 million from him by starting a bidding war between all of these clubs, then that's £40 million that he won't get next season. So I do think Southampton are up to a little bit of games here regarding Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. But as soon as it was sort of rumoured that he preferred the move to Tottenham, I think a lot of Evertonians sort of said, well, you know what, we don't want you then. We don't want a player coming in whose heart isn't fully set on Everton. And I totally agree with that. I don't want a player coming to Everton and the only reason he's here is because we are the last resort. The only reason he's here is because he desperately wanted to leave his current club and nobody else was in for him. And I feel like if the rumours are to be believed, that could be the potential situation with Højbjerg, is that he desperately wants to leave Southampton and he will come to Everton, but only if there's nobody else in for him. I want players that want to come to Everton because they want to play for Everton. I want players like Luca Dean, who said, I'm happy where I am, spoke to Marcel Brands and it was Marco Silva at the time and said, no, I want to go to Everton Football Club. I want players like Richarlison who've got the right attitude, who want to play in that blue shirt. I don't want players that are thinking, well, I'm coming because I desperately want to leave my old club, but I'd prefer to be somewhere else. Because all that says to me is that he has one half-decent season, and as soon as a rumour comes in that somebody else is in for him, which it will, because this is how journalists make their money, this is how these people make their money, is by saying, you know, X wants to go to Y, and then people click on that article, then, you know, you can see his head being turned. So, I'm with you. Listen, I think he's a good player. I think he'd improve the squad. I'm not massively upset that he won't be coming to Everton Football Club, or that he mightn't be coming to Everton Football Club. Obviously, we don't know what's happened yet. But it was strange to see, wasn't it, that so many reliable journalists were so adamant that this was happening. Jay Bird very rarely gets things wrong. Paul Joyce, usually very spot on. Matt Law, very spot on. It was mad that all of these journalists, I think Alan Myers he said that it wasn't true that he was going to come for the higher price, which TalkSport were originally rumouring, and TalkSport one of the ones that I was a bit reserved by, because I thought...
I never listened to them.
I thought, no, I'm not really believing you, but, you know, again, you know, it was mad to see. It wasn't just a transfer saga where, you know, somebody who's created a Twitter account 3 months ago because they've been bored in lockdown and gone independent journalist, featured on TalkSport, featured on Sky Sports, and then gone, this player's going to Everton. It was actual, you know, credited journalists who know what they're talking about and will have inside information. And I do believe Everton bid for the player, and I think, although I don't necessarily, I'm not 100% on the Echo, I think the Echo's rendition of it was probably the most realistic, is that Everton are desperate to bring him in because they know he'll improve the squad, but the player mightn't be as desperate to come. I just think, like I said, I'm not massively disappointed that we won't sign him, because for 35 million, like you said, which we probably would have ended up being bullied into paying, because Southampton had put it out there that other sides are involved and other sides are interested, so we probably would have been bullied into paying that. So I'm not overly upset that he's not coming to the football club. In addition to that, I think there's better players out there and players that have got more of a heart, and you know, you could go out and get a Boubakary Samare or Ibrahim Sangare who'd be coming in wanting to play for Everton Football Club, not coming in because they have to play for Everton Football Club. So yeah, you know,
the only thing, a bit of a red flag for me, like, it's like some of the Southampton fans I've seen don't seem overly bothered that he's going. I mean, I've only seen him a few times this season. Like, I'm not one who watches Southampton every week, but I think he looks a good player. It's something that we need, but they don't seem too bothered, do they? To be honest, which it just sort of raises concerns for me. Yeah. So
exactly, that's it. You know, when you see fans of clubs that players are going to, it was a bit like Arsenal in the summer, weren't it, with Iwobi, where we signed Iwobi and they were like, we've had your pants down there, and I was like, no, I'll give him a chance, but why are you saying that? There must be a reason as to why you're not saying that.
The only person I seen who was gutted over Iwobi was that Claude on Arsenal Fan TV.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just like,
exactly.
He was the only one.
That's because he used to get involved with them and he used to be like all friendly with them. But most Arsenal fans were like, "Now I've had your pants down there." Same with Walcott a few years ago, and that's the big reservation, isn't it? When the fans of the club that the players are saying, "You know what, like him, good player." But I was talking to, well, I wasn't talking to a Southampton fan. I seen his tweets and he said, he said he'd fit into Ancelotti's system, but he's nowhere near worth that amount of money, £35 million. And Southampton will sell him for a lot more than he's worth because he's in his last year of his contract and because they know they can get that type of money for him. Which, you know, it's the game, isn't it? It's a business, and I think Everton need to be a bit more savvy with their spending, certainly this summer, certainly with what's going on with financial fair play. And I still think if we brought Højbjerg in, I still think we'd need another centre midfielder. I want to talk about the centre midfield with you for a second. I want to get your thoughts on this. I was thinking today, actually, about Andre Gomez. And I thought, let's say, you know, which is probably going to happen, Carlo Ancelotti goes into this transfer window and he buys for a 4-4-2 formation. He then, adopts playing the 4-4-2 formation for the entirety of next season. Does Andre Gomez fit into that formation for you? And does he start week in, week out in that formation? Because I honestly don't think he can play in that.
Right. I've always said it, I'm not the biggest Andre Gomez fan, and people might look down at because a lot of people rate him. On his day, he's fantastic, and I think the only good game he's had for us since this lockdown was against Sheffield United the other night in that system. Yeah. And 4-4-2, it doesn't seem to suit him. Like, maybe he's playing like that because he's got two more midfielders around him.
Yeah, maybe.
That when you add it all up, that's what it is. I can't. I don't know. I think Ancelotti does rate him highly, but I don't know. It's a hard one, mate, because when we play 4-4-2, he just hasn't fitted at all for me.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree, and I was thinking before, like I said, and I thought, and you know, I was watching him the other day, and I thought he's having a brilliant game here. This is, you know, it's miles better than anything he's played in recent times. I thought, when has he last played that well? And it was before the injury, and it was probably during Marco Silva's time, and it was Jordan playing in that formation, that 4-2-3-1. Now, that's a big issue for me. I think that Everton need to be bringing in players that can play in different formations. I'm not saying they have to be unbelievable in every formation, but we can't be bringing players in that are only good in one formation. And I'm talking Gylfi Sigurdsson, I'm talking Alex Iwobi, I'm talking Andre Gomez. And it's all right, fans saying, yeah, but they do really, really well in that specific formation. But we can't go an entire season playing 4-4-2 because teams will suss us out and we won't finish anywhere near the top end. We couldn't go a full season playing 4-2-3-1. Similar it happened with Silva. Teams sussed us out, and we just got played off the park far too many times. You need to be able to change it up. You need to be able to adapt, and you need players that can do that. And I'm like you, mate. I honestly don't think Andre Gomez can play in that 4-4-2. So
I think if you put Højbjerg, is it Højbjerg in there next season, Højbjerg, put him in there next season to Andre Gomez, I don't think it's miraculously going to make Andre Gomez be amazing. If it's in a 4-4-2.
I just don't think he can play that 4-4-2. I don't think he's got the energy. In a 4-4-2, there's two central midfielders. With the difference between the formation that we played against Sheffield United and that we'd seen Andre Gomez play brilliantly, a lot of times for Everton, specifically last season, is, like you mentioned, he's got two midfielders next to him. So he's got a midfielder that focuses on the attacking part of the play, which is being Gylfi Sigurdsson, and a midfielder that focuses on the running round and the dirty dog work and the honourable work, which last season was Garner Gay, who was the best at it, which is why he played so well, when they were playing well. That makes no sense, but you know what I mean. This against Sheffield United, it was Tom Davies, who done okay. Yeah. On the ball, he's not great, but he does a bit of running round. In a 4-4-2, both of those midfielders have to adopt every bit of that role. They're going forward, they're creating chances, they're defending, they're running round, they're silky, being able to stand on the ball and play a brilliant pass like Gomez does. And I honestly don't know whether he's not good enough, or he hasn't got the energy, or he hasn't, he just because of the injury, he's not up to it. But I just don't think he can play that formation. And if Ancelotti is going into next season with that formation being the main formation, I think we're needing two centre midfielders, because I already think we need somebody who's more creative, because we've got very little creativity in the team whatsoever. But and that, Højbjerg may be that type of player if he was to come in. Obviously, it's looking like he's probably or he mightn't be coming in now. But again, I just don't think Andre Gomez can play in that 4-4-2. I really, really don't. Not anymore anyway. Maybe 5-6 years ago, but I don't know. Every time I've seen him in that formation, he's looked atrocious. He hasn't even looked like average. He's looked atrocious. He's just out the game completely. And that probably doesn't help that he's got a player in Tom Davies next to him who isn't brilliant either. But you can't excuse it, can you?
You need two box-to-box centre mids. Yeah. But even if one's slightly better defending and one's slightly better attacking, both of them need to get up and down the pitch if you're going to play that 4-4-2.
Spot on.
Both definitely need a bit of creativity as well.
Spot on. I agree, 100%. We'll dive into the live comments then, and then I want to go on to talk about Bournemouth a little bit, and specifically relegated teams and players that we could potentially pick up for not cheap, but cheaper than we'd usually get. Yeah. Lewis says, hello up the Blues, hello mate. Pedro says, who else do you think we should sign? It would make a difference to the team money-wise. Again, we're going to talk about players that have been relegated or are probably going to be relegated. And how that could make the difference.
I can think of one.
Yeah, I can think of one.
But I think we're going to talk about him in a minute.
Definitely. John says, how are we doing today, Blues? Let us know your thoughts on Højbjerg. If you want us to sign him, definitely let us know in the comments. Eugene says, Kevin Hart back first time since the Ancelotti red card. Yeah, it's an absolute joke that he's allowed to referee games of football for Everton.
See the Man United ref who disallowed the goal.
Yeah, and then sent Ancelotti.
Didn't give Sigurdsson a penalty.
Nope. And I tweeted it today, and I was like, how is he allowed to referee games of football for Everton when, he disallowed the goal and he sent Ancelotti off, and someone said, oh, well, VAR disallowed the goal. I was like, well, no, because he has the final say on the situation, and he didn't give a penalty, and he sent the manager off, so, no.
That was a defo pen.
Yeah, 100%. Ben says, evening guys, he's a good player, he's not a great player. If we don't get him, I'm confident we'll fill this much needed void in the midfield. Would love to see a powerful box-to-box midfielder come in. There you go, I would as well. We'll go on then to talking about players from teams that are likely to be relegated. I've wrote a couple of names out here, I'll throw them at you. Max Adams, Todd Cantwell, Ryan Fraser, John McGinn and Jack Grealish. Now obviously I'm aware that Aston Villa may survive, and I hope they do survive because they're a big club, but let's just for argument's sake, there. Any of them stick out to you? I think I know the obvious one.
Jack Grealish.
Yeah, he's quality, isn't he? He
would be perfect for us.
He would.
Perfect. Just the type of midfielder we want. He's great at running. Yeah. You know, great at crossing. Just think he's brilliant, and I thought he had some really good moments against us the other night. I think he whipped it in for the goal, didn't he? Am I wrong there? Or was it the one?
No, I think he did.
Was the one that just or it might have been the one with the sitter. I can't remember. But I just think he's a brilliant player, mate. He's got a bright future, and just would fit for us. I know he probably cost over 50 million, but even if he doesn't go down, even if Villa don't go down, I can see him leaving. To be honest.
No.
But not good for us. I think there might be some better teams in for him.
Yeah, there is. There's going to be some big sides in because he's got a lot of quality. He absolutely ran the game against Arsenal the other day. He ran them off the park, left, right and centre, which isn't great for us, obviously, if we were interested in him. I think in terms of Jack Grealish, I think we just need to get in there first. Just throw a bid at Aston Villa and just say, let's set the stand here, and let's, we could get the Jack Grealish deal done, and then Man United could go, let's look at Grealish, and it could be like, he's already signed for Everton. We can't wait until all of these clubs get involved and then go, we'll get involved, because he wouldn't even bat an eyelid at Everton. Whereas if we get him first and we make the stands.
Go on, sorry.
No, go on. I was just saying, if we get him first.
I was just going to say, he's got Man U written all over him, but...
Yeah, but he has, hasn't he? He has, because, again... But he's the type of player we need, a creative midfielder who, can change a game in a split second. What about John McGinn, then, also playing for Aston Villa? I think, again, a midfielder definitely would improve Everton, probably get him a little bit cheaper, well, probably a lot cheaper than you get Jack Grealish for. Would you take him?
Yeah, he's a good player, from what I've seen. Like Southampton, I don't watch them every week, but I've seen him a few games, and I've seen him on Match of the Day a lot, but he seems to always stand out. He seems to always, be one of the best players for Villa, doesn't he? So, yeah, he's not bad. Yeah. I'd take him.
I'd take him 100%. I picked out a couple of others. Picked out Ryan Fraser. I wouldn't take Ryan Fraser. I wouldn't take any Bournemouth player at the moment. I think they're dreadful. I also picked out Max Adams, playing in, I think he's a right back, position that we desperately need to strengthen in. Worth a punt, maybe 15-20 million at Norwich. See what they say. Young, got a lot of potential, big future ahead of him. Again, I know he's been part of a relegated side, but it's just a guy who was part of a relegated side when we signed him. So,
yeah, getting relegated players isn't always the worst thing, mate. But I think they'd want a bit more than 20 mil for him. I think they'd be looking at 25 at least, because I think that was the rumour for him last year when someone was after him. Yeah. But we desperately, look, I'm not bothered if we sign no one apart from, if it was 3 midfielders in the summer, I don't care. I think we can live with the right back situation, but it does need improving because Coleman just doesn't get up there no more. But I do really want to focus on the centre mid before anything, to be honest. But I think Max Adams is a really good player. Yeah, I'd have him.
I agree.
And what was who's the
Cantwell?
I'd still. No, Fraser. I'd still take him for nothing.
I'd take him for nothing. Well, he's on a free, isn't he? He's on a free.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's hard because you look at midfielders now and you think, yeah, most midfielders would improve Everton, but I think I've got a couple of players that play Sunday League with me who I look at and think you'd improve Everton. So it's difficult, isn't it?
The thing is, with Ryan Fraser, I've always thought he was a great player, to be honest. I've always thought he was quite underrated for the last couple of years when I've watched him, so that's why I'd have him. And a free, bit of a no-brainer, to be honest. Is he better than Bernard? Probably,
yeah. He's probably more consistent than Bernard, I'll tell you that, even though people won't like to hear it. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. Everton Rose says, hey guys, enjoying again, thank you very much. Højbjerg improves us, but he needs to want to be here. What do you think of Rabiot? Again, I think it's similar. I think he'd improve us, but I'm not convinced that he'd want to come to Everton. I just think that he's another player that would probably have his eyes if he was leaving Juve on, you know, a side playing Champions League football and at least Europa League football. What's your take on Rabiot?
I haven't seen too much of him, Cam, to be honest. I've just heard that he's got a bit of an attitude. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, that's what the rumours seem to be suggesting, that, you know, he's got a little bit of an attitude problem. But the rumours suggest a lot, don't they?
Again, mate, there's so many midfielders that I just say yeah to at the minute. So, because our midfield is so bad.
Yeah,
honestly, I wouldn't lose any sleep if any of them went tomorrow.
No, same.
I'm not getting on the backs or nothing, but there's just been too many times this season where they've just let us down, especially in the games like the Anfield derby where we're going out the cup, and that Wolves game the other day. It's just we just need to improve it. So yeah, I'll take him.
Yeah. Same. I'd take him. I would take him. I think he is his goal the other week for Juve. I don't know if you've seen it, where he ran from pretty much his own box and then fired one into the top corner, was unbelievable. Whether he'd do that week in, week out, I don't know. I mean, we have seen Cuco Martin.
Want to leave, is he?
I think it's more they're wanting to sell him because they got him for a free, and if they can get a bit of money for him, I think they're more wanting to make some money back from him. Well, money on him because they didn't lose anything. Mitchell says, but Richie would do the same if, say, United or Barcelona wanted him. Footballers are mercenaries. Cam, sure, career they need to chase dollars in the trophies. I agree, footballers are mercenaries. I don't know whether it's just me and not wanting to believe it, but I don't think Richie would. Certainly not at the moment. Maybe in a couple of years if we haven't advanced and, you know, he's looking like the standout player for 5 years on the run, saying, and, you know, it's holding him back a little bit. But I don't think he'd go at the moment, do you?
He's already came out, hasn't he, and said, like, they were in for me, but I didn't want to go because I looked at players who've gone there and sat on the bench. But whether he's just saying that because it didn't come to fruition, I don't know. But I think he likes it here. I think if Barca generally come in, he might go. Yeah. But if it was like Man U or something, I don't know if he would. But with these South American players, mate, they always go to Barca or Real.
They do.
They just do.
The dream as a kid, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if they're the big clubs in Brazil, like what everyone's watches all the time, but they always seem to can't say no to them clubs. So I do think he'd probably go to Barca. So if another Prem club come in, I just think he wouldn't be too bothered about it. I don't think he'd push it or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think
it's today as well.
It'd have to be, exactly, his quote today about how much he loves working under Ancelotti, and I think I agree. I think it'd have to be top end. And Barca would have to improve as well because they're not, totally at the top of their game. All right then, well, we'll move on briefly and we'll talk a little bit about Bournemouth. I don't want to do too much because I know the game preview will be out within the next couple of days or so. Obviously, Everton go into the game off the back of a really good win away from home against Sheffield United. Last game of the season. Just made up the season's over. It feels like the longest season ever. It's all right, no worries. You looking forward to the game, mate? You confident?
I am after that win, yeah. I think we should just go out there and absolutely destroy them, to be honest, because we should be. Yeah. We're better than them. Yeah. I just think that'll give us a confidence boost against Sheffield United the other day. And I just think, even probably, all right, the midfield's not great, but we've just got more quality than them, to be honest.
I agree.
I just hope it's something like 4-0 or something that can, to finish the season off on a bit of a bright note for us, considering they've given us terrible games the last few weeks.
I agree. If we end the season strongly, then I think it's a massive positive, and then we can forget about the results against Aston Villa and Wolves, Southampton, etc., and we can just move on, then move forward and look forward to next season, and specifically the transfer window, and hopefully Carlo bringing in the players that he so desperately needs. Mitchell says, is Mahrez his agent, so stay away from Rabiot? There you go. John says, would anyone else take Lallana? Would anybody be willing to take Lallana? Sorry, not else. No. I think he'd want too much money. I think he's a good player, but I think he'd want too much money and his wage.
I would have had him when Liverpool signed him.
Yeah, I would have had him when Liverpool signed him, but I just think now his age, the injuries, the money that he cost, I just don't think it'd be worth it. Mitchell says you're looking 45 million plus for Aaron's, mate. There you go, like Jordan said there.
Maybe, yeah.
We'll do.
I said 25, but could be 45.
Even more. We'll go for one more, then they'll have to jump. Ben says, evening guys, he's a good player, he's not a great player. We don't need him, I'm confident. Oh, we've done that one, I think. Sonny says we need a Ghana-like midfielder who gets stuck in at like Sangare or Samara. Yeah, I agree, 100% spot on. 100% spot on. I think we desperately need a player like that. Surely we do, don't we? We talked about Ghana a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I miss a player breaking up all the play like Ghana did, but they're not easy to find. I know there's players who do it, but not like him.
Definitely not like him. Unfortunately, we're going to have to end it there then, because I've literally got me mum on the phone to me about 10 times moaning about me tea, because I've literally just come in from a driving lesson straight after work. So I do apologise. We will be back next week. Obviously, the season finishes next week. We'll be back next Thursday, and we'll have a longer one then, because there won't be as much on it. So if you've enjoyed the live stream, please do hit that like button. It means a massive amount to us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Big thanks to Jordan for coming on, mate. Sorry it's been a while.
I know, yeah. Hopefully we'll get a few more over the summer.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have loads of free time now that there's not a game every 5 minutes and there's all this going on. We'll have loads of free time. So we'll hopefully we should aim for at least once every other week, if not even maybe one a week. So yeah, we'll definitely have loads more of these live streams. Like I said, if you've enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Anything to say before we finish up? Check out Jordan's channel as well in the description. Belter movie reviews, Boss channel. So go and check out Jordan. You can check out us as well if you want, the Mighty Blues. We'll be doing the Bournemouth preview tomorrow if you're interested. Anything to add?
Yeah. No, not really, mate. Just come on, you Blues. Let's get a win Sunday and finish the season off nicely.
That's it. Spot on. Come on, you Blues.
Richarlison, get another one in.
Richarlison, that's it, please. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be boss. Yeah. Big thanks for watching. Please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you soon.